Hi everyone, welcome to another session of IQI Tech Talks. I'm Fizza. If people who don't know, I'm the marketing coordinator at IQI Canada. And today we have a very special guest, Arif Nezami, who is the CEO of Those.ai. Hi Arif, how are you?
Hello, Fizza. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. So, Arif is as I told you, he's a CEO of his organization, Those.ai, and his organization specializes in AI and data solutions for enterprises. He also runs a nonprofit organization to empower young people, women, and entrepreneurs with technology. And today we will be talking about AI for business and social good. So let's get into it, Arif. So could you tell me what are the main opportunities that lie in AI and automation for businesses?
Sure. So, as we already know, the AI means artificial intelligence, and this AI, AR, VR, all are the part of the fourth industrial revolution that the world is like now experiencing. So, AI with automation and data and everything that comes with it. So, of course, those are the technology that is currently leading the world, number one. And of course, for the next 20, 30 years, AI and others are going to, rule into the world of business, social good, and everything. So when I talk about AI, so for example, businesses, if you just talk about how the new businesses like Amazon or any e-commerce, how they are like using the data to understand what people are actually looking for, then they are like building their inventory and only showing or showcasing to the right product to the right people. Uh, AI with the data and other like data analysis and other technologies can also be like implemented for any kind of business. Just think of like a small grocery store. So of course the grocer or the shopkeeper can take the technology and then decide like what are the best selling products with the help of his inventory or POS software that he got or he or she got. They can decide which product is the best selling, and they can like have more inventory of that product. They can plan ahead. So for example, the Christmas is coming, you can already know which are the top products are going to be the best sellers, and with the margin you can have the highest margin, and then you can decide that which how many like products you can have. So this is same for like RNG industry, ready-made garments industry, like any kind of industry. For example, if I talk about the ready-made garment industries, it is heavily dependent on the labor, which are like in different countries, human labor, I mean, in different countries. But with the help of AI and automation, now robots are actually, replacing the human resources. So, for example, the businesses are having robots. So the good thing about like robots and AI is they don't need um, holidays, right? So for example, a human or a human workforce or a human resource will work on like 7 hours or 8 hours per day, and will have like 2 weekly holidays, and of course many other like in between spaces or in between breaks during the work hour.
Yeah.
And of course, like other issues are also there, like health issues and others. So the AI and automation, what it is doing is it is kind of replacing human resources in many places. And robots and AI, they can work like 24 hours. That is number one, increasing the efficiency,
I'm
and
fast.
also like helping the businesses to reduce the cost hugely. uh, this was just an example, and as like mentioned that it is actually replacing human being or to some places, but of course that some good things are also coming up with it. For example, there's a term now called the universal basic income, which
Okay.
actually is a futuristic term and plans that every person in the earth will get a certain amount of like money or revenue from the government or for the system, because the robots or the machines are going to take over many of the jobs. Of course, the people will need something to for their future, for their families. Of course, the system can produce the revenue for the human being, and people can do whatever they wanted to do, not working very hardly.
Yeah.
Machines will replace it, and they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, no, you touched on the exact thing that I was thinking about. You know, replacing human beings is going to cost human beings as well, because they will lose their jobs, their hours, and stuff. So, how do uh, cope with that? But yeah, thank you for answering my question before even I asked you the question. But so that, like having that in mind, there must be other challenges in the sector. So what do you think are the key challenges in this sector?
So if I talk about the challenges, so for example, AI is a pretty new field, if I like be very frank. So it is like researchers and academicians are working it since like 1980s or 70s or like before that. But of course, uh, in recent time, it got the pace. Like everyone is talking about big giants like Google, Facebook. Everyone is working to empower it.
Yeah.
So of course, getting number one, the challenge, if I like say so, number one challenge is getting the right resources. So of course there are a huge number of like technology professionals or developers in the world, but number of like people who work on like AI, artificial intelligence, data analytics, those number of people are not that much yet. So there's a huge gap in the human resources, and that is number one. Number two is also with the use cases. So for example, businesses, everyone is talking about like data and AI, but there are like limitations of use cases yet. So for example, if your business is totally 100% depending on digital, for example Facebook, it can use the data and AI services at full. So for example, the news feed that we see on Facebook, our news feed is totally designed for us. So for example, my news feed is totally different from your news feed, or like everyone is watching the show, they have their different news feed. Even if maybe we can live in the same country, same city, we can be just neighbor or family members, but of course our news feed is going to be very different, because how we use it, Facebook is like changing it automatically for everyone. So those are the great use cases for companies like Facebook or Google. But of course, there are some challenges of getting the right use cases for the right businesses. And then another challenge can be the cost. So as the resources are very low, the human resources are low, and also the technology is pretty new. So the technology is a bit costly for the businesses as well to end up. So those are, I think, the major challenges that we are in. And also I would say the regulation challenges are there, and that is a new thing. So everyone is like trying to figure out what regulations it can have and others. So for example, people are saying the data sets or the AI that we are seeing uh, got some like issues, like racism and others. So it is biased as well, because the data set that we are training the engine, of course it will learn from the data that we are feeding
Yeah.
into the system. So sometimes if the data is not universal, the data is not properly well planned and well like cleaned up, of course the system can have like biases, negative positive biases to someone or to some task as well.
So it's going to take some time for it to regulate and get into the flow, and balance the costs and the earnings from it, like the money you save and the cost you spend on it. So yeah, of course you're right, it's going to take some time. So you mentioned like use case of Facebook. uh, what are some like simple use cases of AI and data innovations that businesses can adopt today, like at this point?
Right. So for example, uh, as I mentioned, there are like only a few use cases that are being like adopted globally, because it's pretty kind of new field. But of course, there are great examples or great use cases already. I'd mention, for example, the customer care automation, or the virtual assistant and chatbot system, which is very popular right now. So the trend started like in 2015 or 16, and now it is kind of it's like the best pick. So what businesses can do, it can like totally automate it. The customer care system, we just before was a human based system, but right now it can be totally machine based system where people can like automatically talk with the machine without any human intervention, and it can get the service that it wants without any human interaction, and the customer will not feel that it's talking with a human or it's talking with a machine. So for example, if I have a call center or a customer care center that talks with the customer in Facebook, it is not possible for agent like 10, 20 agent to deliver service to the million or 100 of the customers. And also of course there are like work hours. We cannot have, some businesses cannot afford to have like 24 hours
Yeah.
customer care service, and there you like lose business, right? So you miss a customer, you cannot reply. And thanks to the like social media, everyone is very impulsive, everyone needs everything very quickly,
Yes.
right? And they want the service right now.
Yeah.
So for example, so for a human person it's very tough to adapt or to serve many customer at once, but the machine can do it without like any support or any like big issues. And it can also like do the sale as well. So for example, if I talk about like a e-commerce site or a telecom site or any kind of business, just talk about a simple like maybe a cake shop or something else, it can have the sales system inbuilt with the virtual assistant. It can take the payment, it can take the user address, everything pretty easily, and then send all the data to different departments of the company or different people. So those are some like great use cases that businesses are already doing. Some businesses are using the data analytics and designing their services, designing their products, and how they will serve their customers. So yeah, pretty great cases are already there. Like it's a small start, but
Yeah.
of course
Of course.
businesses can like get benefit out of it.
Of course, of course. So, now that we've talked about businesses and small to large businesses, let's talk about AI on the government level. What do you think are the like global governments doing in the sector in the space?
Right. So I have seen many governments are very interested about it, and people are having like national frameworks for data, AI, and blockchain and technologies like this. So governments are like really interested about like tapping into this because, of course, number one, it is for the country's economy and business ecosystem. It's very helpful, to adopt new technologies. And as we mentioned, the fourth industrial revolution is coming soon, or we are in almost in the fourth industrial revolution. So those technologies are leading the business. So for example, if you see the US market right now, exchange right now, the top companies that are leading, the top 5 companies are technology companies. Just like 15 or 10 years before, it is mostly like oil companies, gas companies, car companies, and others. But now it is like everything is like technology companies. So of course, all the governments are very interested to make sure that their economy is adapting with it. Number one, and of course, they're like having regulations. So countries are very sensitive of the data. So for example, countries like the EU, European Union, Japan, maybe Canada as well, and maybe US as well. So they have the regulations. So the user data will only be hosted on certain like under the jurisdiction of that country, and also it should be like properly dealt with. So proper like privacy policy should be there and things like that. So government are like also very interested and also having trying to have the regulations that should be there. But of course there are many things that we'll do in future.
Of course, as you said, AI has just it's in the
Just
beginning
picking up.
stages, so it's gonna take some time. So everything AI sounds very interesting, and it sounds like the world is leading towards it. So how can a person start their career in AI? Because if this is the future, people should know how to get into AI.
Absolutely. So normally many people will assume or people will think that it is only for the people who are from the computer science background or science background. But of course, anyone can adapt or learn the AI technologies. It is like getting pretty simple. Big companies like Google, Facebook have some kind of like products that they are backing. For example, Google is trying to empower TensorFlow, and Facebook is like to empower PyTorch. and those kind of technologies. So learning coding or learning the data analytics, I think now should be very important for everyone. So if you are or anyone is interested to learn more, they can go to maybe YouTube as well. There are like amazing videos. I've seen like workshops or like longer videos of 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. You can spend maybe your weekend or like a week, or you can divide it in few weeks, and you can learn Python, which is the most popular language for like data and AI thing. And of course, there are also tools that you don't need coding. You can use like drag and drop or no code. It's a new technology that is being very popular, new term that is being very popular. So those opportunities are also there, and you will find like in Udemy or any other like
Yeah,
website, you'll get
the
some
academy
courses to learn.
stuff. Exactly. No, that's very helpful, because you think about AI and you think you need to do a program in computer science or data sciences or something like that. But you can do like small, like little certificate programs and online programs, and then just get into it. And as soon as you start working, you'll start learning as well on the side, right? Arif, what are your suggestions for the upcoming year? Based on this.
Right. So it's pretty exciting. The new year is coming, and we all have been like have difficult times in 2020 and
Yes.
2021 with like dealing with COVID and everything else. I hope that the new year will be a good beginning for all of us. Wherever we are from, it will be a good year, I hope. And of course, as like all the technologies are there in like YouTube or Udemy or anything now, nowadays everything is free to learn. And I think that it will be great if we all learn about like data analytics. It doesn't matter if we are from a like a science background or a business background, or we are like an accountant in profession, or maybe a law people or law person as a like a, we're doing it as a career. But AI and like data is going to like impact all the fields. So my suggestion will be to to keep start adapting with it and know what is there, so we can for our future as well, we'll be able to like cope up with the things or the tests that are coming.
No, that's very nice advice. Of course, like I want to do it. I've been wanting to study about it and get into AI. I have a minor in computer science, but it's computer science is not my comfort spot. So, however, I still like know that how important it is to know your basics of coding or like basics of AI or something like that. You should always know these things, because as you said, this is the future. This is where the world is going. So it's going to affect everyone and every field. So people do need to get the basics of it. So just before we go, Arif, if you can just briefly tell us about your organization a little bit. I know I told people, but I'm curious. I want to know more about your organization. So if you can just give us a little brief on it.
Sure. So I'll talk about our non-profit first. So my organization, Prana Lab, which is a Prana Lab Youth and Innovation Trust. So we started in back in 2014, and what we try to do is try to empower young people, women, and entrepreneurs throughout our country, Bangladesh, and we also have like collaborated outside Bangladesh as well, in Nepal and different other countries as well. So as you know that. Technology, as we believe, as the organization, we believe that technology is going to, or it is impacting everything that we have. So of course, enabling young people and women, we need technology can be something that can be like equalizer for them. So if someone don't have like many opportunities before, technology is something that are like bringing more opportunities to them. For example, education is almost like open for everyone right now, thanks to um, like open learning systems, YouTube and others. You can just find a job online pretty easily right now. You can work as a freelancer. You can start your business from like with just a computer. So we try to like teach or like educate the young people and women and entrepreneurs with those technologies, how they can improve their life. And also we are like dealing with some of the like difficult things on internet, like hate speech, internet safety, and we also try to like work with it. And we try to work with the global giants like Facebook and Google in Bangladesh to make sure that Bangladesh internet space is safe for everyone to be in and to be safer. And also we have a AI company that we provide AI services, which is a for-profit. The non-profit that I just mentioned, the for-profit company helps businesses to grow and to with AI and like data technologies, including virtual assistant and others as well.
Well, that's actually, like, I mean it. It's great work that you're doing. The how you're providing education and resources for people for better opportunities for them. So great work. So anyone who's interested in AI, and most of the people should be interested after this session. But so if anyone wants to get any resources or any more details on AI, feel free to reach out to those.ai and Arif. They will help you. Even if you're not in Bangladesh or somewhere else, people can reach out to you, right, Arif? That's all right.
Absolutely.
Great. And yes, if you also want to join IQI, you can contact us. Our contact details are down below. You can call us on 905-564-0188, or you can go on our website, and just email us if you want to. We're always here to help you. And yeah, thank you so much, Arif, for such an informative session, and I loved all the information that you gave. So we'll hopefully see each other again sometime. Thank you everyone for joining us. We'll see you again with another IQI Tech Talk session. Bye. Take care, Arif.
Have a good day.